Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Talk Scottish Football podcast, episode 10. We've made it to double digits.
Absolutely.
The perfect 10.
Feels like we've been away for ages.
I know.
We didn't have a video at the weekend.
Exactly. We're back up home. How was it? Did you enjoy yourself?
It was nice, back in Uzbekistan, was it you said?
Uzbekistan, I think that's what I said the last time.
Yeah.
I was stuck down here in Storm Dennis, living it up with half the football being called off, but at least the Celtic game went on. And today's episode is going to be a bit exciting because we have the return of European football, David.
Woo-hoo!
You excited?
Yeah.
As a Dunfermline fan.
Absolutely can't wait for European football. Thing is, I'm absolutely buzzing for Dunfermline Partick Thistle on Saturday, so nothing's going to get in the way.
It's actually a decent, week all in when you look forward to the weekend too. I'm gutted that I'm stuck here. I mean, it's a podcast, so I'll throw in a story very quickly. That and plus I want to also explain myself in case I sound tired. I've been up from 5:30 this morning. I took friends to Edinburgh Airport to go to Copenhagen for the game this morning, and I forgot to tell you this. I almost had the biggest of disasters.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how when you drop somebody off at the airport and you get to you drop them off and then you drive out and you've got to pay for dropping people off.
Right,
it's a scam.
I didn't know that.
Did you know that? No, you've got to pay. So it's like £2 for under 5 minutes. And I get up to the bit where you pay, and I look in my pocket, and I've not got my wallet.
Oh my god!
And I've not got any money apart from notes, and it's coins only.
Oh.
So I start panicking. I'm like, oh my god, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I phone the person that I've just dropped off. I'm like, you need to come here with your bank card to let me out of here, or I'm stuck. I'm stranded. They're like, sorry, I'm away into the terminal. And then luckily, God somehow from above, I put my hand into my jacket pocket
and
what
found a couple of coins.
£2 coins.
Oh, that's nice. That
saved. And that's my interesting story of the week.
Thanks for listening. I hope the rest of the podcast is more interesting than that story. But anyway,
thank you. that's
so
exactly
we'll start before we get on to Europe and all that carry on. We'll go back to the weekend.
Yes.
We have a whole weekend to review. In the Premiership, it was only Motherwell St Mirren that was knackered with the storm, wasn't it? Well, Livy Rangers was originally, and then they moved to the Sunday. But I suppose we'll start with the champions, shall we? Up at Pittodrie.
Why not? Let's go there.
It was a game that it had a different pattern to what I expected it to. Aberdeen were the better side, I thought, for the whole game, actually.
For 90 minutes of that game, after Celtic scored their goal anyway, which was obviously very early on in the game, from that point onwards, Aberdeen really did take the game to Celtic. And hats off to Derek McInnes, because every week we come on here and we discuss whether or not he's going to be Aberdeen manager much longer. It seems like a lot of the time the only two teams he does decide to turn up against are the old firm sides, but I mean, you can't take anything away from what they done at the weekend. They were unlucky on the Celtic side of things. You can see it's a real, kind of one of those performances that
typical champions
get
result,
the title won. It's the difference between Celtic and Rangers over the past 2 weeks, because you look at performances, teams who've played like that against Rangers haven't been able to answer back, and they've suffered because of it. Celtic, on the other hand, were resolute. They managed to keep them out, and they took the chances when they had to. I mean, Johnny Hayes missed an absolute sitter.
Yeah, I think that was the only chance, the real chance they had apart from the goals.
But the chances that they did have, they took. They made the goals out of it.
Great finish by Ayer.
Unlucky.
You didn't really expect him to be have that level of composure.
Playing at the right back position as well, not his natural position.
Yeah, he's done that job well though this season.
Yep.
I wouldn't actually be surprised if going forward in Europe,
when he's been called upon to play in the right back area, he's done not bad.
Yeah, I mean, for Aberdeen, I think when it went 1-0. First of all, can we just talk about Scott McKenna?
Well, I mean, let's see. Scott McKenna, I think, started the game incredibly badly, but I think as the game went on,
he did do well as the game went on. But that goal is just a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what he's playing at there. And the fact that people are still telling me he's Scotland's best centre-half, I mean, we're in more trouble than even I thought we were.
Scott McKenna, who obviously, referring once again back to the Scotland XI video.
I'm still raging about this, especially after this weekend.
I picked McKenna, obviously, but in that video alone, I voiced how much I'm not a fan of McKenna, and I voiced how the criticism that I have for him. And this weekend really did back that up for me again. He's not Scotland's best centre-half. There's no chance. We have other players, and I know that's kind of obviously backfiring on what I said in that video, but and maybe now people will be going and switching their votes to you,
as much as I don't
even
think he is Scotland's best centre-half, I'm not entirely sure who is. I'd probably say Cooper.
That's the thing. No one is Scotland's best centre-half. We have a very...
That's why Charlie Mulgrew keeps getting a game.
There's a lack of quality, but the fact is with McKenna, what I was going to come on to is, doesn't matter if he's the best or the worst, he's just got that thing that gets him into the team. I don't know why, but I mean...
I suppose it's just because he's consistently playing. I don't know.
Steve Clarke obviously looks at him as one of the top defenders in the Premiership.
It's not just Clarke, McLeish was the same as well. But yeah, you're right. He had a shocker for the goal, but then after that he did get better. And
I seen somebody gave you some stick on Twitter for that.
Yeah.
Seeing you go.
JY, Jamie Young, I'll give you a wee shout out since you've been asking one for so long. No, he still maintains McKenna's the best centre half in Scotland and 100% has to start, which I think is mental.
It's off, he's nuts.
But yeah, Aberdeen, after going a goal behind, you would have expected Aberdeen to fold, I think. I think a lot of people probably would have done.
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing that came out of my head when McGregor put that in the back of the net is, well, we're going to be up 3 or 4-0 by half time.
Yeah.
But they changed the game completely, and I think there's a big.
Yeah, Edward didn't really have a kick in that game.
Edward and Griffiths were both gone about of it. I think the big talking point for me in Aberdeen's style of play, players like Niall McGinn really done well at the weekend to really give them something going forward.
I tell you what, actually,
I feel that's where they struggle.
Now what I've just said, we both just said Griffiths and Edward didn't have a kick, so McKenna must have done something right.
Well, there you go.
It's all about Big Ash Taylor though. What a goal he scored!
That was a
cracking
for
finish.
A half,
Yeah, I was watching the goal from Celtic's point of view. That's a shocker as well because Griffiths is standing free, but that can't be Griffiths' man. Surely not.
I mean, it's a mismatch of the century.
Yeah, but then I was looking at the rest of the back line as the goal went in. I'm not entirely sure who should have been picking him up. It was a bit, I don't know, it was very strange. Griffiths is obviously pushed out, expecting a counter-attack as strikers do, and left Taylor free, but if Griffiths has got to be marking him in the first place, there's something wrong. Well, what a finish from the big fella.
They fought hard all over the park. Ash Taylor, a good game. McKenna, a good enough game. As I said already,
Considine did well as well.
Considine over on the left-hand side. I think just all over the park there was something about Aberdeen where they set up on Sunday that just they knew they wanted to shut up the critics.
That was more like it McInnes's Aberdeen. You know, tough to beat, feisty, making it difficult for teams. One thing I will say, I mean, we were speaking a few boys at home as the game was going on, that the fact they went with Curtis Main instead of Cosgrove again was an interesting decision. And Main did okay, he chased lots, he worked hard. But I think for Aberdeen, Cosgrove should have been on after the hour for me.
I think building up to this game, though, just to quickly, before you move on with your point, because I understand completely where you're coming from. I think building up to this game, though, number one, I wasn't shocked, but number two, I think Curtis Main deserved to start going into this game. I think Cosgrove
did well on Tuesday, scored a good goal.
Yep, Cosgrove's goals have dried up recently. Main has scored a couple over the past few weeks. He's also looked really proactive.
I mean, what we've talked about in this podcast about if you had to pick one weakness of Celtic's defenders, especially Christopher Julian, is that the big strikers tend to make it difficult for him. And I think when Aberdeen were very much in the game, if not having the better of the game, that I think McInnes should have been proactive in putting Cosgrove on to really take the game to Celtic. What he did was, as soon as Celtic scored, he chucked him on. It's just too little too late at that point.
He's left it too late, but I think as well, Curtis Main did, you could see him try to make a good job of that. He did try and get in Julian's face throughout the game for a long time.
He was very clumsy, Julian, with one sort of.
I think early on in the game, you could see it happening. You were like, oh no, is this going to be another one of these games for Julian? But no, managed to hold his own, I suppose.
Julian, it was a weird game for him because I was saying to a mate of mine, I said, Julian he makes the difficult stuff look very easy, but some of the easy stuff, he just stuff like shielding a ball out for a goal kick and he'll make an arse of it.
The thing I'll always come back to is, you look at him play against the likes of Livingston, even Aberdeen and that, and he's been bossed by these strikers. Then you look at his performance over in Rome, and you look how he played against Lazio that night. If it wasn't for Julian in Rome, Celtic would have, been down 3-0 at half time, maybe a bit later on in the second half.
There was one outstanding tackle he made at the weekend as well. I can't quite remember who it was on, but it was like some of the stuff that he did was fantastic.
Him and I love going in for the tackles. Yeah, incredibly good at winning the ball.
You mentioned Niall McGinn earlier on. I quickly want to touch on him. He's had a bit of a difficult season. Had a lot of stick from Aberdeen fans. They played him centrally off Main in sort of number 10 position at the weekend. I thought he did really, really well. Really kind of dictated the game, linked up well. And for large parts of that game, you wouldn't have, if you were a complete neutral, didn't know what you were watching, and you had to say that, how many points are Celtic ahead of Aberdeen? Because it certainly didn't look it.
I've not got an internet connection on this computer sadly today, so I can't.
So it's like 30 odd points.
Mental.
It didn't look it on Sunday, and although for McInnes he didn't get the result, he's got to take a lot of.
There's a lot of pride to be taken for that.
But then finally, just for Celtic.
But do you think it's going to be one of these ones that frustrates the Aberdeen supporters because they know we know they want change?
Listen, they wouldn't have expected anything. I think they'd have expected a bit of a doing at the weekend.
A battering that.
Well, maybe not a bit.
I thought it was going to be 4-1.
Considering recent results at Pittodrie, I think they'll be relatively happy with the performance because you're not expected to win anyway.
But Celtic get the story on Celtic side very quickly before we move on. We keep the gap at the top of the table.
Absolutely. It's typical. They don't play well and they still grind it out.
Yep, and that's got to be the story for the next. We spoke about it in the last episode. The run of games that Celtic have got now. They've got 2 games at Celtic Park. They've got a game away from home to Livingston. Look, if they take 9 points in those games, I mean, I've already said it's over, but that would cement it.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a double-legged European tie in amongst that as well. So
and a Scottish Cup game against St Johnstone.
Yeah,
so it's not an easy run of games for Celtic.
If they keep doing that, I don't think anyone will be.
Yep, and they've certainly got it. It's good to see players coming back to fitness. Frimpong due back sometime soon. I hope the likes of Abdelhamid isn't far away.
Is he? What is the story with him? Is he just knackered?
I think he's just gubbed,
legs just don't work.
I think he's gubbed.
I thought he was absolutely outstanding, especially that first Old Firm. He was brilliant.
He'll give me a lot of confidence. And then we'll be seeing El Yunusi coming back at squad, played against Clyde, obviously. So there's a lot of players to come back.
It's such a selection headache, Lennon, because I don't even like. Now, I think we'll go back to 4-2-3-1 on Thursday.
Yeah, I think we'll go back to the 4-2-3-1.
I think you'll see Christie come in for Griffiths. Maybe El Yunusi will come in as well.
And I think it's worth it. We'll come on to that, I suppose, when we get to
the
Europa.
So we'll move to Ibrox. The game was supposed to be on Saturday.
Yep, but
and Dennis the Menace ruined it.
The pitch turned into SeaWorld.
But the pitch at Ibrox has been horrendous for ages. I don't really know what the story is.
Little fun fact here for you. You might not know this yourself. I imagine most Rangers fans do know.
Hit me.
The pitch at Ibrox is actually below the river level of the Clyde. So, that's completely different for Celtic Park, which is above the river level. So it's below river level of the Clyde. Yep. If George Stephen Fitzsimons is anybody to go by who tells me this every single time there's a storm, the pitch is below the river level or something, and it just obviously makes the drainage and all this geographical nonsense come into play, and that's why their pitch gets weathered a lot worse than the likes of Celtic Park or maybe some other grass pitches.
Let's get him on here to back that
around the league. I don't know if it's true. I hope my dad's no telling lies.
Nah,
because
we'll get him on. He can back that up.
I've just said it here. I think it's true because I did bring it up to a Rangers fan last night, and they seem to.
Well, anyway, the pitch at Ibrox has been rubbish for weeks and weeks and weeks now, and they tried the game out on Saturday. It didn't work. They played it on the Sunday, which thought was a bit strange. You never really see them changed over that quickly. But they went ahead and listen, Levy did what Levy do. I mean, they made it difficult for Rangers. They had chances in the breaks. Dykes looked really, really good.
As usual. I think that's been the story of his season. He's just always looked good.
I think a lot of Rangers fans came out of that game saying, let's get Dykes signed up, because he'd be perfect for Rangers.
I mean, that's it. They've got Canberry. But
he did well, Canberry, the weekend.
Yeah, he did. He changed the game. I suppose we'll call it that. But Dykes. I'm not surprised to hear Rangers fans say that, because I feel like there's been a lot of them that they've seen the physicality that he brings to the Livingston team over the course of the whole season, and it's exactly what Rangers need. Yeah, and it's exactly their sort of style, isn't it? So
yeah, and for Rangers, thank God for Scott Arfield. I mean, he's been the sort of saviour for them since the winter break. If it wasn't for him, where would they be, kind of thing?
So can I just quickly throw on, just to back up my point very quickly?
Have you just texted your dad?
No, I didn't text my dad. I looked up on Google. So basically, a lot of people have been arguing on Rangers forums that they want the pitch to be lowered to increase the capacity of Ibrox, but further lowering is not possible due to the Clyde water table, and that it's too low. It's below the water table.
But I still don't understand how that even works.
Because
it's not like the Clyde's gonna I don't understand.
It's look.
I didn't do geography in school, so
geography?
No, I didn't. I didn't even do Nat 5 geography.
I got a B in higher geography.
Oh well, take it away then. I know, what's it?
I can't even bother going through it.
Yeah. All I remember from geography in school was the types of rocks and stuff.
Anyway,
and all that.
Insidious
metamorphic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But no
nonsense.
What was I talking about there before you rudely interrupted?
I know, I'm sorry. I just
Scott Arfield.
Aye.
I was saying to us, every single time I've seen Scott Arfield play live, at the game, he scored. So I was at Rangers Killie, Rangers Hamilton. The last time I seen Scott Arfield play live before that was the 2009 Scottish Cup semi-final where Falkirk beat Dunfermline 2-0 and Arfield scored. So 3 times I've seen him live, 3 times he scored.
Nice memory though.
Yeah, it's not a nice memory, it was horrible. I think it was the only time me and my dad ever left a game early. But yeah, thank God for Scott Arfield for Rangers. Scott Arfield for Rangers. He's been in great form, and it's typical that, for all the struggles just now, one of the most experienced players is kind of dragging them through.
He's probably been at points it looks like the saving grace for Rangers.
Yeah, it was another really good goal at the weekend as well.
Oh, aye. One thing that always baffled me about Scott Arfield, very quickly before we move on, was I was shocked when I heard him speak for the first time, because I always knew him as Canadian. Yeah. And I did not have a clue that he was going to come out with this thick Scottish accent the first time I ever heard him speak.
Well, it's like, Ed McGeady being
Irish. Well, quotation marks.
But yeah, I think Rangers fans will be just so relieved to get 3 points. I don't think they'd have cared how they got it at the weekend.
It's the same thing, we talk about Celtic, slugging out a performance against Aberdeen. Look, the story is for Rangers, if they converted of the points that they've dropped into performances just like that, where they did just win by 1 goal and it wasn't pretty, think how different the atmosphere would be among Rangers fans right now. They would be sitting still only 4 points behind Celtic. And it would be a completely different conversation that we'll be having over the past few weeks. I don't think there's anything wrong with going through this season winning games by 1 or 2 goals.
No, absolutely not.
I think with an ugly performance,
that's what Rangers need to do. It's all well and good them playing amazingly once every 2 weeks, but they've got they'd rather just win 1-0 every week. And that's what Celtic have got to have.
That's ultimately how they threw away the title challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they know fine well they can't drop any more points. I mean, they know that. So, you know, I think what the big positive in terms of performance they'll take is Canberra's influence on the game. You know, he came on, he really upped the tempo, got them playing, moving forward, went up well in Morelos.
Do you think this is Gerrard inheriting a little bit of Neil Lennon with the 2 up front? Do you think that will happen from now on?
I just think Gerrard's been very faithful to his sort of starting 11. You know, like Ryan Kent's been hopeless for a couple of weeks now, I think. I mean,
I couldn't agree
hopeless
more.
is maybe a bit harsh, but he's not been up to the standards.
He's not been a £7 million signing.
Yeah, and everyone knows he's capable of that, but he's not shown it recently. So Gerrard needs to kind of, you know, maybe taking him out of the team for a couple of games might not be the worst thing, going 2 up top. But Gerrard has proved that he's very sort of faithful to that sort of, you know, front 3 of. Well, I mean, Aribo's has come out of the team, but like Hadji seems to now be settled in that team. So you've got like Hadji, Morelos, and Kent. Hadji's been, you know, probably the best out of that 3, and considering he's a new signing, you know, I don't know. I think Gerrard he'll learn so much from this experience in management because you know, so far at Rangers it's kind of all been positive for Gerrard, whereas now it's the sort of first time when people in the media are starting to go, well, listen, if that was Caixinha or that was Warburton just now, we'd be chasing them out. You know, and Gerrard knows he's not stupid. He'll know he'll get away with stuff because of who he is, right? And that's all well and good.
Biggest names in British football.
But he's going to have to learn from the experiences now, and I think, you know, Rangers. We've talked about the lack of squad depth. There are players there who he obviously just doesn't trust. Like Stewart, Ojo, Jones. They're only getting 5-10 minutes every week.
I think it'll be for all we know, if Gerrard does remain at Rangers next season, which I am assuming he will.
Yeah, I think he almost definitely will.
But if he does remain at Rangers next season, despite what the squad does in the ins and the outs of the transfer window, this could be a blessing in disguise for Rangers. They could have learned a lot from the past 3 or 4 weeks. We don't know. Only time can tell.
Absolutely. But then the counter argument to that is, why didn't they learn it from last season? You know, same manager, so it's a similar group of players.
Well, it's happened twice, and you'd think third time.
That's why I think it's so telling that Arfield's the one that stood up. He's one of the most experienced players in that team.
Quickly before we move on to the next game or so, have you catch up with the whole Gerrard Man City Liverpool thing? Have you seen that?
We're not talking about that rubbish on this podcast.
I can't believe it. I just wanted to get your.
I did find it ironic that it was a Rangers manager talking about financial doping. If I'm honest, I thought that was kind of ironic, but we'll leave it there.
Aye, well, that was that, and you're the one with the games up there. You've got to direct us this week, as I've already said.
Let's go to the game of the weekend. Let's go to Tynecastle.
Oh, jeez, this was disastrous. I was out for lunch on Saturday, and I looked down at my phone, and I seen 2-0 Hamilton, and that was 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
So I looked at my phone. I was like, I can't believe this.
Well, I just got a phone call from my dad. I was also out, and he just said, phone me. I completely forgot the games were even on, to be honest. He phoned me and said, Hearts are down. And I thought, what are you on about? He said, 2-0 Hamilton. I was like, oh my God, you're winding me up. No. And then, by all accounts, you know, there was a moment that changed that game, thankfully for Hearts.
Well, the young boy Hamilton getting sent off for the 3rd time this season, 17 years of age.
God, he's having a hard sort of.
He was crying as he went off the park.
You got a feel for the kid, but it's you know, Hamilton are in a really, really tough spot in terms of their squad just now. You know, the defenders are dropping like flies. I mean, Brian Easton went out with I think it was a dislocated shoulder he got against Aberdeen, or some sort of shoulder injury.
Something to do with the arm anyway.
So he's captain, centre half. He's out. Hamilton's suspended again, which I think because it's his 3rd red card will mean a longer ban. Is that?
Yep, that should be the case. I'm sure. I think it might be
and
up to
also,
a game of
I noticed in their under-20s game yesterday, another defender, Sam Woods, went off injured in that. So I mean, the defenders are dropping like flies. There's been loads of debate about whether or not this was a red card. We were talking about this before we started recording here. I'm still not sure.
This is one of these ones. So last night,
Twitter says the jury of Twitter seems to reckon that it wasn't 100%, and I don't understand that.
When I was on the air last night on YouTube, I'm actually struggling to remember what I said, if it was a penalty or not.
Red card, you mean?
I know, I done that earlier as well. I just keep thinking there's so many dodgy penalty calls every week that it's engraved into my brain. The red card, but I can definitely see your argument, David. That is kind of, you've came across and you've been very vocal to me and on your opinion on it. Just explain why you think.
Oh well, I mean, I'm not 100% sure.
I'll rebuttal, but I mean, I just want to hear what your thoughts are.
I can understand why he's given a red card.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the argument is, does Boyce get there? And I know people say, "Oh, what can you do about hitting his hand?" But the ruling now is that, if you, no matter how, if the ball hits your arm and it stops a goal scoring opportunity, no matter what the circumstances are, you're in trouble. And I think the only argument is, does Boyce make the ball before Hamilton? Does Hamilton recover if it doesn't hit his hand? So I can totally understand why he's given it as a red card. I can understand why Hamilton fans feel aggrieved, but it's a real tough one. I'm not buying into this that's a shocking decision, though. I can totally understand why.
There's the whole argument as well about consistency in the league with the whole handballs and everything.
Of course, but then the referee can only judge each situation as he finds it.
Exactly.
He's not going to think back to what happened.
I know, exactly. I think that's one thing that always annoys me. I think Rangers fans are guilty of bringing it, and this isn't me coming out and just slating Rangers fans, because Celtic fans are just as bad. We've spoken about this. Old Firm fans really aren't too knowledgeable when it comes to the referee conversation sometimes. But I think Rangers fans are very guilty talking about the consistency in referees' decisions. They give a handball here, they don't give a handball there, but in this game they're giving it, and in this game they're not.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. If Kevin Clancy is refereeing a game of Rangers and Hamilton, say, he's not going to think back to a decision that Willie Collum was making, 4 weeks beforehand, because he wasn't involved in it. It wasn't his game.
Is different anyway. I think from what I can gather, Clancy had a bit of help from his assistant on that call at the weekend.
Apparently, Clancy was very controversially looked upon by both Hamilton and Hearts fans at the weekend. His performance.
That's because both their teams are rubbish and they need someone else to blame. No, that's a bit harsh, but no, I do think I can understand why it was a red card, and the young lad's going to have to learn sooner or later, because he can't. Brian Rice doesn't seem to have much of a choice but to play him just now. But if he keeps costing them, Hamilton are really going to struggle. If Hamilton had won at the weekend, wow, that would have been huge. I still think after that result, they're favourites to go down for me. I
mean, Hearts, for example, have just been. Let's just move on to Hearts for a moment. I mean, the penalty, I think, to be honest, I understand the red. Watching it back, I completely understand your argument, Dave. But Hearts, are we perhaps correct on the fact that they can't? The whole thing about, can they stay up? Are they too good to go down? Blah, blah, blah.
I think we've put the whole too good to go down myth to bed, but I still think they will stay up. I mean, you look at the weekend.
I still think they'll stay up, but every
week 17 shots, 8 on target, 72% possession to Hamilton's 3 shots. Right? So, yes, Hamilton had a red card and stuff, but Hearts had, they dominated that game, so they should have won it. And it's not like they're not playing well enough, or they're not creating enough chances to win the games. They're just not taking them just now. I honestly don't know. The Stendhal thing, right? I think I've sort of backed what Stendhal's trying to do, and I understand it. If he stays up, I think he'll do well next season, because with a whole summer to build his squad and to get him playing how he wants him to play, I think he'll do well. But it was a risk to bring in someone who didn't know the Scottish game, where you look across the city in Edinburgh, you look at Jack Ross, what a job he's doing.
He's transformed the other side.
But Hearts didn't go for him, or couldn't get him.
So according to, and I don't know how much legit, I don't know if you've heard this, I'm going to bring it up anyway because I feel like it's a talking point before we do move on from Hearts and Hamilton. According to The Sun.
Oh, yes, do we even have to give this thing air?
Well, it's been getting floating around the BBC and elsewhere now.
Right, give it to me in our rubbish it.
So apparently, Daniel Stendhal is not in favour of the Hearts changing room. Apparently, the Hearts dressing room are confused.
That's typical, Scott. That's typical of the Sun, isn't it?
Apparently,
team doing rubbish. Team previously have issues with the manager. Let's make a story.
The story goes. The team don't understand what Stendhal wants to bring across.
Well, that's their fault,
because they don't like what's happening, and that is what has been thrown out there. Now, it's been floating about the rumour mill for the last couple of days now. I would be on the side of complete and utter nonsense, as you have already said.
I'm not listening to this Scottish son about it.
But on it, could you not maybe see it?
No.
Do you not see the heads in that heart's
Well,
chamber?
even if that's true, I'm not buying that the Scottish Sun know it. They've just made that up.
No, right.
Who in Hearts is going to go, right, I'm going to tell the Sun that we don't like the manager? Who's going to tell? Oh, that's just ridiculous. It's
true,
typical of the
but
Sun.
do you not look at some of the faces in that changing room and think,
But I thought the whole point of what Stendhal did in January was get rid of the ones who weren't buying into what he was doing, and the ones he kept were the ones who were going to buy into what he was doing.
I completely agree with you. Just let me throw it out there. I'm just throwing out the potential opportunity of names such as Stephen Naismith, who have
He's given Naismith the captaincy.
Worked with far.
He wouldn't give Naismith the captaincy if Naismith wasn't buying into what he was doing. So
do you think Naismith's a patient man?
I think if Naismith's going to be annoyed with anyone, he'll be looking at his teammates. You know, that you can see it.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just trying to pick apart.
He's screaming and barking at his teammates and stuff. I'm not buying into it. That Naismith will be in a situation where he thinks, I'd imagine he'll be thinking, no matter who the manager is, we should be doing better than we are. And Naismith will be, if he's annoyed at anyone, it'll be his teammates. I'm just, yeah.
Just to quickly throw in as well,
I don't want to give the Sun any more air on this podcast.
John Suter really
had another shocker. Hearts fans hate him, by the way.
No.
But he's starting for Scotland as well, folks. All the best, Israel. God almighty. You put me in a bad mood now by bringing up the Sun. Oh, God, right.
We all are in bad moods when we bring up the Sun, but we're not going. We're just having conversation, David. It might be true. Who knows? It's not, but we'll see over the next few weeks. Hearts need to sort it out, though.
Yeah. Oh God, what else even happened in that game? Nothing really. Halkett again. He scored loads of goals.
He's Hearts' top scorer.
Yeah,
it's mental. You're talking about a team that has Boyce, Naismith, Uche.
Uche. You just say Uche because you don't know how to pronounce his second name.
Ikpeazu.
Well done. That's better than I would have done.
I just like the name Uche. Man, I like to say Uche. No,
I don't know.
You judge me a lot in this
right,
show.
Where are we going next? Let's go to the happy side of Edinburgh, shall we?
Oh, brilliant.
What a result for Hibs.
Okay. I mean, Jack, I can't. I just feel like I can't sit down and not have a smile on my face when I think about the way that Jack Ross has transformed things over there. The running joke is that the left hand side of me supports Hibs, but it's remarkable just some of the stuff he's done there. The way he's got them playing. I mean, you're talking about
Ross has got them playing. Hibs are back.
I was about to say, you talk about Stendhal bringing high press attacking football. Well, the attacking football at Hibs has been absolutely spectacular, and they carry it on this weekend. David.
Yeah, I mean, did you see Greg Docherty's goal?
Aye, fantastic.
I said when he signed he was going to be massive for Hibs.
He is.
I'm glad I've been proven right.
I mean, a lot of Rangers fans, a lot of Hibs fans were talking about, obviously, in his first game where he walked away with, I think it was a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying, aye, good, but his performance wasn't actually that great. He just kind of masked it with the stats.
There's a lot of Rangers fans who still think he should be at Ibrox, though.
Aye, but you look at his first two games at Hibs now, and what a signing.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think even despite maybe the stats masking that first performance, doesn't matter if you are adding. Ultimately, the 2 assists got him 2 goals. He's got 2 goals of his own now.
And what a strike
that's
that
within
was.
2 games.
Yeah, I mean,
think of the course of 6 months.
If you look at Hibs have got 2 strikers now who we've raved about, Doidge and McNulty, who've been scoring goals for fun. Neither of them got on the score sheet at the weekend, and they still went away to Killian won. I am saying right now, Hibs are my outside shout for 3rd place.
Really?
I still think they can
do you not? Right, okay.
If you look at the table, right? Let's have a look at the table.
A bit too far.
Well, I mean, okay, but they're only 5 points off 3rd.
Right, well, 5 points, right?
They're finding their mojo. They've got players in form.
Right,
if you look ahead of them, right, Motherwell are starting to stutter a wee bit. Aberdeen are not doing great.
I've destroyed what my response would have been, because I was going to say, do you know what, 5 points, I think there might be a bit too much for them, but I think the league title's over and there's more points.
Motherwell have been we've raved about Motherwell, but they've been in really poor form recently. Yep. Aberdeen are, we've talked about Aberdeen's situation. Livy, who have done well, but we've all kind of sort of said how much further can they go. Hibs' squad has got the potential to really climb the league, I think.
I don't
think they'll do it, but I think they're a decent outside shout.
I'd love the thought of it. I think that Jack Ross, it would be a good way for him to come back, and after people maybe wrote him off after what happened at Sunderland, it would be a great way for him to answer back at critics who maybe judged him. Yeah. I think it'd be great for the Hibs players. The thing that I think it's going to be Motherwell or Aberdeen to finish 3rd over Hibs, because Hibs' back line still, to me, does not give me confidence that they can get it done consistently.
But I think they've done better since Jackson's
consistently, week in, week out. I think that back four, there's never a solid four that's chose every week. It's not a consistent four. And then the story with Hibs, season upon season, no matter if it was Neil Lennon, Heckingbottom, Jack Ross, in charge of the club, is they just don't have the consistency there. That's why I don't think they'll finish third this year. I think it will be Motherwell or Aberdeen, and by the looks of things, the way Motherwell have been going, I think it's a perfect chance for Aberdeen to capitalise and go and snatch third out of the realm of what we thought was impossible. But I would love the thought of Hibs doing it.
I totally understand your argument about Hibs' defence, and I 3 weeks ago I agreed with you. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they went to a back three at the weekend. Paul McGinn coming from St Mirren has done really well. Jackson doing really well. Hanlon, yeah, we know, Hanlon's solid enough, got mistaken, and we understand that. But, they started to find, I think with McGinn and Jackson, they're doing well now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I look at their midfield, you look at Doherty, you look at Scott Allen, he's done really well recently. Omiyonga we've talked about. And then up front, I mean, Doidge and McNulty are going to score goals. And then Martin Boyle.
I can definitely see it. As well, we've got to consider Livingston. I don't think Livingston will finish third. We've got to consider the position there and above Hibs.
But I think if you look at squads, I think that Hibs' squad has got far more potential to go higher. I don't know how much more Livingston can do.
So I think that the conversation for this will definitely be a lot more kind of feasible when the split happens. I think when we get to that 33 game mark, when we get to that 33 game mark and we see the form heading into that, I think we'll have a great idea of the likes of how Aberdeen and Hibs will compete against each other, because you can maybe assume that they're going to throw away 6 points to Celtic and Rangers, maybe, very maybe.
But who would you, if you had to look at the rest of the league, right,
mm-hmm.
which one of the teams just now do you think would cause Celtic and Rangers the most problems?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right, see, this is just quickly before I answer that, the point I want to make is Aberdeen give me a lot more faith to go away to Dingwall and win than what Hibs do.
Away to Dingwall? Since when's Aberdeen playing Dingwall?
No, I'm just saying if Aberdeen went away to Dingwall to play Ross County.
Oh, okay. I
right,
you said
do you know get what? Right, do you know get no? If Aberdeen went to Dingwall away from home tomorrow night,
yeah,
I think they'd win. Whereas Hibs, I would maybe doubt.
All right, okay.
That's what the point I'm trying to make. But the team that probably causes the most problems for Celtic and Rangers in the league right now,
I think you'd rather go to Pittodrie than Easter Road just now.
Well, judging the weekend, you don't know.
Yeah, but then your confidence going the weekend with Sky High, you thought you were going to hammer them.
And then look at what they've done at Ibrox as well, Aberdeen. They've got a 0-0. They took points.
Maybe. Okay, I'll take that point, because in terms of being stubborn and keeping Celtic and Rangers out, Aberdeen, maybe. But in terms of an attacking threat,
definitely Hibs, absolutely.
Because
attacking threat, absolutely Hibs.
They've got goals all over that
question.
team. That's why I think they're gonna.
As I said, I think when we get towards the split, we'll have a really good idea of who can get that third place spot. And trust me, I love the thought of it perhaps being Hibs.
Right, let's move on to Ross County St Johnstone, which I think looked like the dead rubber of the weekend. Stevie May back amongst the goals for Saints.
His form has been fantastic. Where has it actually come from?
St Johnstone will feel a bit aggrieved that they didn't win the game. They had the better of it in terms of chances and stuff. They'll feel even more aggrieved
had a good performance in goals.
Minute.
I thought Laidlaw was terrific for Ross County.
I mean he's been decent this season, but it was a 94th minute Billy Mackay goal for County. Billy Mackay's come in amongst the goals recently as well, which is big for County.
He needs his form back.
County are a team that I think are going to stay up, but I just think they'll start across the finish line.
The team that, the way I worded it in a video the other day was, Ross County, the team is just there. They're not there to excite you. They're not going to be in a terrible situation. They're just there. They're going to stay up. They will stay up. But if they can get the likes of Billy Mackay playing and scoring every week, they'd be in a lot more of a positive position, because they show signs of promise.
Tommy Wright will be really, really disappointed with that result, I think, because
especially because the way they lost the points.
If they'd have won that game, they'd have gone ahead of Kelly on 33 points with a game in hand on Hibs in 6th. So then Tommy Wright's all of a sudden thinking top 6 isn't out of the question.
After the start to the season they had, would have been
Hibs winning
impossible to predict.
St Johnstone not being able to win, it's a bit more difficult. But saying that though, they win their game in hand. Although it is, who's the game in hand? Is it not against Rangers?
It is against Rangers at Ibrox. So you can maybe throw away 3 points maybe. There.
But if they'd have won at the weekend, top 6 wasn't going to be out of the question. I think it might be a bit of a tall order now. But yeah, as you said, considering the start they had to the season, what a turnaround.
It has been. Ross County though, I mean, they did work hard, to be fair. I feel obviously St Johnstone did have the better chances, but you look at Ross County for the game, I don't think we should be harsh on them.
No, as I said, I think they'll stay up, but I think they're going to stutter across the finish line. I don't think County play much exciting football, to be honest. It's just as you said, they're just kind of there.
They're there.
Right, we'll quickly scan through the rest of the leagues. I think we did a lot reviewing the Premiership there.
We did, because that's us been on the air for 35 minutes.
Oh my God, we better get to Europe. Right, let's quickly go through the Championship. Where are we? So we started with Alloa, Dundee United on Friday.
0-0 it finished, didn't it?
Friday night. Yeah, what a shocking game of football.
I didn't get to watch. I was working again as usual.
That.
It annoys me because I always, every single week, I go, I'm going to watch the Friday night game.
You're not missing anything, because every time BBC pick a game for Friday night football, it's always a rubbish game of football.
Rotten, what was it the week before? It was Partick and
Partick and Ayr. Aye. Pretty boring. Yeah, so that's kind of that. There's nothing else really to say.
I know there is no talking point. I mean, I guess the point is, Peter Grant will be happy to not lose because they are down that bottom end of the table.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point for Alloa. They're still 3 points clear of the bottom team, Partick Thistle. The story in the Championship the weekend was Arbroath. Queen of the South, I think, are in big trouble, by the way. I said it last week.
Yep.
They are now just 3 points off the bottom themselves. And Alloa are still in great form. Queens are in rotten form just now. What a win for Arbroath. Up into the playoffs.
Has monumental for Arbroath, because at the start of the season it's a team that I would never have looked at. I'll put them up there. They would have been down the bottom end.
If you look at the form league of the last 6 games in the Championship, the top 2 teams are
Arbroath and... Now, let me think here. I think I know the answer.
All right, we've got 5 seconds.
All right, Dunfermline.
No. Arbroath and Alloa. The 2 part-time teams are the top form teams in that league.
I thought it was going to be
Dunfermline. The third is Ayr, who I would imagine will have, probably one of the smallest budgets in that league, having not long, out of League One. So, it's proving that budgets don't matter an awful lot in the Championship, it seems just now. So Arbroath, what a win.
And that's why it's so fascinating.
I wouldn't have liked to have been up at Arbroath on Saturday with Storm Dennis kicking off. That would have been.
No. I'm surprised the game went on.
Yeah, I mean, they're so used to adverse weather up there.
I know. It must be like a necessity come into the club and the contract.
Yeah, and then finally, Queens actually did get a point away to Morton at the weekend. They were a goal up, then 2-1 up, and Morton came back twice. But yeah, I think Queen of the South are in a bit of trouble. Move on to League One.
Nice.
The top 2 didn't play in League One this weekend, so... Yep. It was a good weekend for Airdrie, who they won, so they're level on points with Falkirk, albeit
I was about to ask, what's the gap
2 games
now,
in hand, so and they're still 4 off Wraith who have a game in hand. So Airdrie,
they're keeping some form of conversation.
I mean, they're going to be solid for the playoffs, I think.
Aye, they're not going to get up, first or second place.
I wouldn't have thought so.
But they'll get into the playoffs.
Stranraer seem to be drawing games for fun just now. They've drawn.
How many draws are they now on this season?
I don't know, but they've drawn the last 5. They're on 10 draws. 10 draws for the season.
10 draws.
Yeah, and 5 of them have been in the last 5 games.
That's insanity.
And that was against Forfar, and if they'd won that, they'd have gone. Where would they'd have gone within 2 points of Forfar, whereas they looked doomed long ago, and now because that was 10th against 9th, a draw is no good to.
It's mental how much one goal can change a game. Now it could go either way; they could win or lose. But it's
do you know who scored for Stranraer at the weekend? Any blast from the past?
No.
Ryan Stevenson.
Still
kicking about.
Deary me.
And then on to League 2, where...
What age am I now?
What age is he now?
No, I was talking about myself. I was talking about myself, just thinking back
and
to
League
the
2,
past.
do you want to kick us off with League 2? Because I think it was a big game in League 2.
League 2, aye, that big game. Cove Rangers 2, Edinburgh City 1. Massive result. And
League's over.
League's over. Do you know what? To be honest, you could maybe say it is because
6 clear now, Cove.
6 clear with 10 games left to play.
Yeah.
Aye.
It would have been a really good game to be at because 88th minute, Cove got the winner, and it was that man, Rory McAllister. We said he'd have a big impact, and he's done
moved
it
there, and he was obviously going to do something big there, and this is just a prime example of what he can do, Rory McAllister.
It's taken a wee while to get going.
Aye, but he was always going to show it.
Yeah, and that's why you bring him in.
And goals like this is what's going to get you to the title.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, for me, I just think it's too late for Edinburgh City to recover 6 points in that league. And now I know it's only 6, and I know there's 10 games to play. A lot of people who support Edinburgh City may be thinking that's ludicrous, but Cove have got that much behind them, and bringing in players like Rory McAllister now with a big confidence boost with that win. After a little bit of, let's just say it wasn't bad, but patchy. Cove Rangers before this game. They were patchy.
Both the top 2 have been patchy.
Yep. Heading into this, there's one team who's going to take the confidence from it, and that's Cove, and I don't see them slipping up 6 points now against the rivals. So, I mean, that's it for me. I think League 2 could be over.
Yeah.
I title this episode "League is over again."
Yeah, absolutely. Anything for a few clips. Yeah, Cove will be delighted with that, and it'll be a big boost. I don't think the league's quite over yet, but I think it's
bold. Ryan Fitzsimons' prediction: 3 out of the 4 leagues are done.
Right, so we've got some midweek games. We'll quickly touch on the Scottish Cup replays. The real talking point from this I want to talk about is the fact that, well, I've spoke to you about this. I still might head through to this tonight. Motherwell Aberdeen, 12 and 6 tonight to get in at Motherwell tonight. Motherwell St Mirren tonight. Sorry, brilliant. I mean, Motherwell. I've raved about Motherwell in terms of how they're running and stuff like that, and
just cleared off
great
their bets as
sensible
well.
Pricing.
That was something I didn't bring.
That'll get people along to that game tonight who will not normally go.
Oh,
and if they can get those people to go tonight, enjoy it, and then stay, brilliant, perfect. So well done to both clubs for the pricing. I'd fancy Motherwell to go through.
Aye.
Depends what Conor McCarthy does.
Depends, if he can maybe nod one in from the corners. Like, St Mirren are a good team. I can see them, because this is a cup, it changes perspective and everything. Both teams really want to go for it. But if Motherwell look at their recent form in the league and think about how it's dipped, they'll be thinking to themselves, right, in case we do slip off from giving the fans this potential third place finish, a cup run would be nice.
Yeah.
So I do see Motherwell winning a game. Unless Conor McCarthy does blog himself a hat-trick.
Fancy Motherwell too. And then Wednesday night we go to Rugby Park. Well, we don't go.
We don't, sadly.
The cup goes to Rugby Park. Well, no, it doesn't.
No, it does
the cup
not.
replay
No,
goes to Rugby Park.
I mean,
Anyway,
the cup
right.
is firmly in the Parkhead trophy room.
Ah, very good. Right, this game I think is massive for Derek McInnes, right? Because if he wins this, I think he's
safe.
Safe for now.
Oh, Jack, you're safe.
And a cup run would be massive for McInnes. However, should he lose this, he's back to square one, and all the pressure's right back on.
Back to Aberdeen Twitter being
so
it's not.
Big game for Aberdeen. Kelly, if they perform like they did against Rangers, will win this game. Mm-hmm. However, they showed at the weekend they can't maintain that level of performance, so I fancy the Dons.
I fancy Kelly.
Do you?
Okay. I just have that. It's not even one of those ones that I can back up with anything.
Kelly.
It's just that gut feeling. I've just got that gut feeling that it's going to be Kelly.
Fine. I still think Aberdeen are going to do it though.
We'll see.
Stand free and all the rest of it. Anyway, so I'll let you take it away with.
Well,
apparently there's some games going on in where is Copenhagen, Denmark? I hope it's Denmark.
It's Denmark.
Right, okay.
Where else would it be?
You can tell who supports a team that don't go into Europe very well.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Copenhagen.
You know where Braga is, son?
I know where Braga is, okay. What a lovely stadium. But we'll start.
Unique.
You know what, we're going to start with Rangers actually. Cause
this is just great. Europa League football is back. Do you know how good it's been this year?
It has been. But we're starting with Rangers, right? Because we started with Celtic with the league stuff. So we'll start with Rangers, right?
Okay. Rangers are going to win.
Do you? I think so too. I think I've said how I believe Rangers are so well set up to play Europa League football. That's exactly
every point I could bring up. Look, Rangers need to... Look, if the players don't rally around this game and give the fans something back after the disappointment of the last few weeks, I would be shocked. They've got to get something here. And also because the one thing I hate about European knockout football is having the home leg first. Having the home leg first is abysmal. I hate it. Yeah. You need to get the job done. Last year we played Valencia at Celtic Park. What happened? We got beat 1-0.
Did really well out there. What was the score out there?
In Valencia? 2-0 Valencia.
But I think Celtic played better in Valencia.
We did. Tolyan got sent off and buggered the whole thing. But what my point is, we went down, we lost 1-0. The atmosphere from every single Celtic fan after that game was, that's it over. You need to do something in the home leg.
I don't think that's necessarily true with Rangers though, because I think that if you look at their away performances, going to Porto, going to Feyenoord...
yes, right, okay. But have you also considered that Braga have beaten all Porto, Sporting Lisbon and Benfica...
Yeah, they're no mugs.
...over the past month or two.
But I think Morelos is so good, especially in these type of games. I think he'll shine. I really do.
Oh, he's got to. I mean, this is a chance to kind of, fire back as well. After
he always tends to, whenever there's a wee dip in form, he tends to come back with a bang and just tell everyone that he's still got it.
And this is the perfect game to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think they will. Interestingly, this is Rangers' first appearance in the knockout stages of a major European competition since 2010-11, in the last where they beat Sporting in the round of 32. So
the more you know.
Yeah, so could be a good omen. Ever beaten Portuguese.
Look, I fancy Rangers to go through the whole tie. I do. I really do.
I do as well.
I think that both Old Firm teams will be in that last 16 draw. But
as you said for Braga, I'm just going to boast because I've got stats up here. And they haven't lost in the last 13 European games. Braga.
Yep, they had a terrific. They beat Wolves.
That's mental.
And we know, and as people who watch English football as well, we know how good Wolves are. Wolves are a tremendous team. Braga, were fantastic against them. This is why, Rangers fans, rightly so, are confident going into this. My perspective will change completely. If Rangers don't win Thursday night, it's done. They're out.
I disagree completely.
Do you? No,
yeah, I just think Rangers need to not lose at home.
Nah, I think if
Braga in Portugal, Braga will have to come out. Make no mistake about it. Braga will sit in on Thursday night. They'll sit in. They'll be quite happy to take a 0-0. But I think that'll work. And I think Rangers will be fine going over there because Braga will then have to come out. They'll have to play. We've spoke about how
I know that's what Rangers.
We've spoken about how Rangers midfield, especially, are set up for that type of game. Morelos on the counter, Kent on the counter. I think if Rangers don't lose on Thursday, they're well in this tie.
I think that people are being too guilty of, and it'll be the same in Copenhagen's part as well. I'm not just saying this.
Writing off Braga, is that what you think?
I think a lot of people are too busy overlooking Braga because
Braga
of
a better
Rangers'
side than
past
Porto?
results. Well, its recent form would go to do so. Yes, I mean not by the current league standings.
But then Rangers beat Porto, didn't they? So
I suppose.
I just think Rangers on the day in Europe.
But also consider how Rangers have fallen away from that. That was a point in the season where they were winning.
Different types of games, though. The atmosphere on Thursday at Ibrox will be fantastic.
It will be, aye, no doubt. But this was a point in the season where they beat Porto on a point in the season where games were fine, thick and fast. They were winning 2 games a week.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're struggling to win, 2 games a week.
Yeah, I firmly believe that both Scottish sides in this Europa League competition could beat anyone on their day. I genuinely believe that.
I don't blame you. I just think.
So I think if Rangers don't lose on Thursday night, they are well in this game. I think they'll get through. I also think Celtic will get through. If we'll go to Denmark and talk.
I wish I was there.
Talk Celtic. You're obviously not going, as we've discussed. But
aye, same.
I think we both agree that Celtic are probably going to go back to one up top.
Aye, I think so. 4-2-3-1.
So.
Edouard leading the line.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they did that and then did the same on Sunday and put Griffiths just in for Edouard.
Aye, just giving that kind of that break and play him in the 2 most important games of the next period. Look, this is huge for Celtic. Last year it was bitterly disappointing with Brendan Rodgers in the Europa League heading out at this stage. And we're coming up for the year anniversary of Brendan leaving the club, obviously. And then the progress we've made in Europe has been tremendous. I for the first time in my life, probably, I'm feeling so confident of an away European win.
Yeah.
Now, I was there that day in Rome, that fateful day when Cham scored the
night
winner. I was there. With my own eyes, I watched as we conquered Rome. But never in a million years would I imagine that happen. Now, I'm going into this game, and if I was there, I'd be raging if we don't.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what the score was last time Celtic played Copenhagen away?
Was it 3-0 Copenhagen?
It was 3-1 Copenhagen.
I knew it was
2006
free. I was like that. I knew it was free.
Yeah. So, both sides have changed an awful lot since then. I think Celtic will win.
Look, Copenhagen are just back from their winter break.
Yeah.
They lost to the team second bottom of the table. They have struggled in their recent form altogether, if you take the winter break out of consideration, and they sit second in the league, about 5 points behind.
They only scored 5 goals in the group stages. They're the lowest scorers of the 24 teams left. 5 goals is all they scored and they still got through.
We should be battering them.
Well,
we should.
That's a little bit. I don't think they'll be battering them, but Celtic
not in Copenhagen. Look, when we take over at Celtic Park next week, if we don't batter them, it'd be not batter. Batter always makes it sound like you're going to win 4-5-0. No. I mean, like a 2-0 convincing win. You don't allow them to do anything.
I wouldn't mind. 2-0.
That's a battering to me.
Try supporting our team in the Championship, and that's a decent result. Anyway, no, if Celtic don't get through this tie, it'll be a major disappointment. And I expect them to win both legs.
The reality is, we go out this competition, right, in a matter of 2 weeks, no one will care. That saddens me, because I think we should always aim to get as far as we can in Europe. I want a Seville moment.
Well, you say no one will care, but they'll care if Rangers are still going it. If Rangers are still in Europe,
will they?
Yo, aye, of course they will. If Rangers are still in Europe in a month's time, and Celtic aren't.
If Celtic win 9 in a row and perhaps even a quadruple treble, do you think they'll give a toss at Rangers?
You watch the narrative coming out of Ibrox. If Rangers are still in Europe,
you watch the narrative coming out of Celtic Park.
If Rangers are still in Europe in a month's time and Celtic aren't, Rangers we're building for next season. Next season's a chance to stop the 10. The positivity will be back. That'll be huge for Rangers.
I think we won't need to worry about it because I feel like Celtic going out and
I think Celtic have got the best chance of qualifying at the two, but I think both will.
Well, I don't think we have to have that conversation, but I don't think there'll be a major. I don't think too many. Honestly, as much as I'll be bitterly disappointed. I'll admit that right now. I'll be gutted because I want that Seville moment. I want to go to Gdansk this year. In all honesty,
Gdansk.
But
it doesn't quite have the same ring to it as Baku for the songs, does it?
No, it does not. I'm dying to see that happen in my lifetime. This year would be perfect. But if Celtic go out of Europe, Rangers make it to the last 16, right? Let's be honest. Rangers are not going to make it anywhere past probably the quarter-finals at most in this competition.
How do you know?
It's just going to happen. Look.
Right. Do you think Man United have got a chance of winning the Europa League this season? You'd probably say yes. Right. Do you think that Man United could come to Ibrox and beat Rangers?
No.
Do I? See, no, I genuinely think Rangers would beat Ibrox.
Let's think of. I genuinely believe Celtic or Rangers could beat Man United, but let's think of it in the whole competition. It's the same as Celtic. We've got Wolves, we've got Man United, we've got Arsenal. That's a loan from England.
I think Wolves
you've got
are
Inter Milan, you've got Frankfurt, you've got blah blah. You've got all these great teams that when it gets to the quarter-final stage, Rangers probably will have to go out. Let's be honest.
Right. Okay. So Rangers. Do you think Porto? I think Porto are probably one of the best sides. I think if you put Porto up against Porto, were Champions League quarter-finalists last season.
That's last season.
Rangers beat them and drew with them away.
Last season.
Yeah, but it all depends on luck of the draw. I think Inter Milan are probably the side you want to avoid with the form they're in.
Oh, definitely. Right, you've got to remember. Oh no, they're out.
Who?
So Lazio's still in it. Oh,
yeah,
no,
of course.
Gone.
I think both. I genuinely believe that if the draw is lucky for both these sides, Celtic and Rangers have got a decent chance of going far.
I do think Celtic and Rangers have both got a decent chance to go far. But my point is, right, let's say realistically, as a Celtic fan, I'm looking at the I want us to go further, but I'm looking at the quarterfinals as the last destination in the Europa League. If we get beyond that, I will be chuffed. I will be absolutely enthralled. But what my point is, I'm trying to make here, is that if Celtic do go out and Rangers don't, and Rangers get to even the quarterfinals, and we win a quadruple treble, I'm sure the Gallagher on the Scottish Cup final day will not be given a toss.
Of course, but it would be an easy way for Rangers to spin a positive on this.
Well, it would be. It will give them their narrative to say that we're still here and they're still, we're back and all the rest of it. And ultimately, we'll see if they can stop the 10.
I'm just thinking, when are we going to have to record this next episode? Because normally we do it Thursday, but...
I know. Mental. I thought we'd bring us up in the middle of this.
I know, sorry. I'd like to keep the audience informed. We might have to come in on Friday and do it.
I know, we might need to.
Oh, that's going to be a nightmare.
Aye.
Right, okay.
But on the game itself, Celtic.
I fancy both sides to get through, and I fancy both to win this week.
Aye, that's him. I do. I can't disagree with you. I've disagreed to a lot of your points, but I think that both teams are going to head through, and it's going to be a party by next week for both sides.
I think so. Is that us?
I think we've just about wrapped
Episode 10. I feel like we talked for ages there.
I know, that's a 50.
I need to run for a bus. I'm always running for transport after we finish these podcasts.
I know, that's your way to the homeland of the Pars.
Yeah, well,
Second homeland.
Uh-huh.
But thank you all very much for tuning into the decade anniversary of the podcast, David.
It's the first podcast we've done where you haven't said we've done well to make it this far, so I think we're finally getting used to the fact we're here to sort of stay at the moment.
I know. I'm just baffled when I do anything that lasts longer than 10 episodes. So I'm proud of ourselves.
So yeah, that's that. Make sure to subscribe, all the rest of it.
Follow, everything's on screen as you know. Hopefully, camera. We're in a different studio today, so hopefully camera soon. I'm looking at ideally where it would be.
Yeah.
But make sure and share it out, get it all going. We'll see you after the Europa League this week. An exciting one to say the least. And see you all next time.